This is a strand of female human DNA. As you're about to see, the female DNA has a secret code that makes her fall in love with a man. And in this short presentation, you'll learn how to crack this code to get the woman you want to obsess over you, commit to you, and fall in love with you.
Hey, my name's Christian, and what you're about to watch is a short presentation about some things I learned in my life that helped me go from really sucking with women and being really depressed and lonely and alone to having an awesome life and having an amazing relationship. And it's exploded over the internet since I put this thing up. It's really unbelievable. Like 400, 500,000 people are watching this a day right now. That is absolutely no joke. And it was even surprising to me, but there it is. And I've gotten a lot of feedback since this started to get really popular. One of the biggest things of feedback was there's no way that this can be real. And that's actually why I'm standing here recording this video right now, is because yes, there's a real person behind this, and yes, this all happened to that real person, and that real person is me. So that's it, and I'm really excited for you to watch this. I've gotten some other interesting feedback. Obviously people have said it's absolutely insane or a crazy story. A couple of people said that it's really controversial or doesn't really fit with them the right way, and you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But most of the people who have watched it, the lion's share, have written to me and said, wow, you know what, this got me the relationship that I wanted, this saved my relationship, this saved my marriage. And so that's really the cool part about all of this, and if that's what you get out of it, then I'll be really, really happy. So without further ado, let's jump into it. You'll see this little like animated version of me talking, and I can't wait to hear what you think. Hey, my name's Christian, and one more warning, if you're a woman, this presentation is going to make you uncomfortable. The discoveries I'm going to share about what women want, what they secretly crave, are really messed up, and I promise you've never heard this before. And by tapping into this secret knowledge, you will have what it takes to make any woman obsess over you. In fact, I'm going to give you one of my very best tips in just a moment. You'll use it to figure out if a girl will have sex with you on the first date, and it works every time. See, some girls, they need to have sex early, and if you don't make your move, they get bored and they'll leave you for a more exciting guy. But others need a little more romancing, and if you move too soon, they'll get scared off and leave you for a more respectful guy. So trust me, you need to stick around for this tip. But before we get to that, I need to tell you a story, because if you're a single guy who's frustrated with girls the exact same way that I was for years, then I don't want you making the same embarrassing and expensive mistakes that I did. You see, like most guys, I used to think that money, looks, and a nice car were the way to a girl's heart and, you know, her pants, but they're not. And I learned this in the most humiliating way possible. In my mid-20s, I was the sort of guy you'd look at and think, wow, I bet he gets laid a lot. I was making pretty good money, I drove a cool sports car, that's actually me racing my car at the track, and dressed in Hugo Boss suits, but despite all of this, I rarely got numbers, and I almost never got past first dates. I really had no idea how to talk to girls, and I was just painfully insecure. So when this one waitress named Christine gave me her number, I was really nervous. Because deep down, I thought she was better than me. I just thought she was so pretty, and I would have killed to have sex with this girl. And the more that I thought about her, the more that I wanted her to be my girlfriend. In my mind, and I can't really explain this, but you know, she was just so perfect for me. So when I finally convinced her to go out with me, I went all out, man. I spent over $600 on 3 dates with her, and except for one lousy kiss on the cheek, got absolutely no signals from her the entire time about how she felt for me. $600 freaking dollars. The worst part was that she seemed to like me less and less after every date. After the third date, I didn't hear from her for the entire week. I was just so nervous and beside myself, and just anxious and confused. I sent her 6 texts, I left her 3 voicemails. I was really hoping to turn things around. And you know, it's ironic, if I'd only used a sex technique that I'm going to teach you in a minute, none of this would have happened. But anyway, she finally called me, and get this, she told me that she got drunk and she crashed her car. Now, she wasn't hurt, but she did get put under house arrest for the next 2 months. But did I get the hint that she didn't want to see me anymore? Well, heck no. I thought, this is my chance. I could be her knight in shining armor. I can take care of her while she's trapped at home. So I asked her when would be a good time to see her, but she just kind of avoided the question. So, you know, me being persistent and wanting her to be my girlfriend more than ever, I hatched a plan to surprise her 2 days later. I ordered a $50 tray of sushi, a $80 flower arrangement. I even bought her some comfy, sexy pajamas from Victoria's Secret. When I left work that night, I picked up the sushi, and then I sped through rush hour traffic fast as I could to get to her house because I wanted to arrive a few minutes before the flowers got there. But traffic was worse than usual that day, so as I was pulling up to her curb, I saw the flower delivery guy knocking on her door. And just as I was walking up to the house, sushi tray in one hand, Victoria's Secret bag in the other, the door opened. But it wasn't Christine. It was a guy. He was kind of scrawny and dorky looking, but he wasn't wearing a shirt, and his hair was really messy. And then I saw Christine. She came to the door wearing nothing but a bed sheet that was wrapped around her. I could see her saying, "Yeah, that's me," to the flower delivery guy. She looked kind of confused. And then her eyes landed on me. In her face, it turned to shock and horror, as if I'd done something wrong. And she started yelling at me, asking why I showed up without calling her first and telling me I had no right to do any of this. So she rejected all of my gifts. She told me never call her again, and she slammed the door right in my face. I felt like I wanted to throw up. The flower delivery guy asked me if I wanted to get a drink, but all I wanted was to be a guy who didn't have stuff like this happen to him. I was so angry, not just because Christine was having sex with another guy. I was angry with myself for being so stupid, for screwing things up yet again, for having no control. Up to that point in my life, dating seemed like a labyrinth, like there were 100 ways to get it wrong with a girl, but only one way to get it right. Well, as I sat in traffic on the way back home, I knew I just could not go through the rest of my life this way. I was going to figure this out. So I did something that most people would call totally insane. You see, as bad as I was with girls, I thought it was going to take a lot of hard work, a ton of learning to actually land a girl like Christine again. So I left my business, I moved to New York, and I went to work for one of the world's best known pickup artists. I wanted to practice with more girls, so I usually went out about 5 nights a week. I read every ebook, I watched every DVD, I learned every trick I could find. And things actually started improving. I learned how to make girls laugh, but half the time I felt like they were laughing at me, not with me. Still didn't know anything about what women really wanted, and I definitely wasn't dating the girls that I wanted. Worst of all, everything still seemed like hard work. And after spending thousands in bar tabs and taxi fares, letting my health go down the drain, and only hooking up with cheap, gross bar sluts I'd meet at 1:30 a.m., I realized that being an alpha pickup artist was absolutely not what I wanted. I didn't have a real job at this point, I was in debt, and I was really depressed for about 2 months. After all these years and dedication, I still felt like I had no control. I still felt like a loser. And I thought about giving up, but I still wanted to date amazing girls. I didn't want to settle for a life of mediocrity. So what was the one thing that changed and put me in the big leagues, dating famous actresses and models, making them my girlfriends at will, getting as much sex as I could take, being interviewed by CNN, Men's Health, and more, and having men around the world line up to pay me thousands of dollars for a weekend of training? Well, it started when I read an article in the Huffington Post about this weird thing called literotica. It's like pornography for the female mind. Think romance novels, but on steroids. Maybe you've heard of that book, 50 Shades of Grey? That's literotica. And as I read about it more, I was shocked and sometimes disgusted. Some of the most popular stories, and these are written by women, mind you, they're fantasies about being strippers or harem girls. Tons of stories are out there about delighting many men at once. And most bizarre of all, about 5% of the stories are about non-consensual sex and other really freaky stuff, and those are hugely popular. Now, you might think like I did at first, that literotica must be a small niche, but women devour this stuff. In 2008, about the same number of women bought literotica novels as there were men who subscribed to pornography websites, and I don't think I need to tell you that there are a lot of men who subscribe to pornography websites. Literotica is currently the #1 ebook category on Amazon.com. I mean, this is the dark secret that every girl indulges in. Chances are very good that just about every woman you know has gotten off on it at some point. And because this stuff is so weird, and because so many women are addicted to it, I began to wonder, what's really going on with the female brain? Because, let's face it, man, if you ask a woman what she wants, she'll tell you she wants a rich guy who can make her laugh, or a sexy Men's Health cover model, or a confident movie star. And that's her social brain doing the talking, the part of her that would never tell someone about her deep, dark desires. But I once had money, and I learned to make girls laugh, and I was still failing miserably. So I knew that it couldn't really be these superficial things that make women want a man. And when I began to study literotica and really understand what the primitive female reptile brain desires, well, a very different picture emerged. I knew I was onto something. I printed out story after story. I bought book after book. My desk looked like I was in a PhD program. I went through every story with a highlighter. I was looking for the stuff that caused women to become attracted and turned on and eventually to fall in love with a man. And man, it was crazy because whether the story was about some badass alpha male or even a scrawny innocent beta who she fell for, the things that led to sex and love were always the same. It seemed like there was an obsession storyline. And when a guy in the stories followed it, it made the women want to sleep with him and compulsively fall in love. So I went a little further. I began to read some scientific research and realized that this obsession story is something that women are born with. They literally pop out of the womb programmed to fall for it. And you have thousands of years of evolution to thank for that one. And that's why literotica is so popular and addictive. Every book that does well, it's pretty simple. It just follows the same obsession story that evolution has hard-coded into a woman's DNA. And what you'll find is that when you're the guy who turns her obsession story into reality, well, she can't help but give herself to you. It's entirely unconscious. She'll tell her friends that it's fate or destiny or something else like that. And it might feel unfair that you're the one in control of the whole process from the moment you meet her until she's your loyal girlfriend. But trust me on this one, even if it hasn't happened to you before, it feels a hell of a lot better than having no control and showing up at your crush's apartment with flowers and food only to find her having sex with another guy. So after months of research, I drew the story out on my whiteboard and I created a step-by-step system of stuff to do and say to imitate it. Now, it didn't work perfectly at first. A few of the steps in the system needed refining. For example, I really don't like approaching girls. And I don't think you should have to practice on 1,000 girls or develop some ridiculous Playboy skill set just to get a great girlfriend. I mean, I'm an introvert by nature, and I sure as heck don't like to get rejected. So I needed something that would allow me to tap into a girl's obsession story without having to spend 5 nights a week in loud, smoky bars. And it took some serious work, but I figured out an amazing social hack that gets girls to approach me. It works so well that out of the 9 long-term girlfriends I've had in my life, 8 of them approached me first. Now, another thing that always frustrated me was how to transition from a number to a date to a relationship, that whole process. It always seemed like a minefield to me, like one wrong move and I would get completely blown up. And I know I'm not alone in feeling this way. Now, it turns out that these landmines are intentionally set by women, and I hate to tell you, but they are always going to be there. That's because every woman's obsession story involves a guy who overcame resistance to get to her. So there's no way around it. I'm sorry to tell you, you have to know your way through this minefield. And I'm sure you have felt the same frustration of having a girl lose interest in you and not knowing exactly why. Well, it took me a while to figure this one out, but by applying the obsession story I learned at Literotica, I figured out exactly what girls wanted, so I just never stepped on these landmines ever again. In fact, when I began to follow the system, girls would casually mention that I made all the right moves. They'd say that it felt like I was one step ahead of them, and they loved it, so they started putting effort into winning me over. And let me tell you, the first time that a total hottie tries to seduce you, you just can't help but smile. I had notes dropped off at my door that were sprayed with perfume, sweet little gifts like candy and DVDs, and yeah, sexual favor after sexual favor. Now, one of the things you gotta get right in this phase is your text messaging. And listen, I know it's annoying. It took a long time to figure this part of it out too. Yet, I managed to create a simple text-by-text system that just followed the obsession story. Now, I even tested this part of the system on a gorgeous female friend who had a very wealthy and good-looking boyfriend. Worst case, I thought she'd see me as a love-struck dork, but since she'd already made it really clear to me that she only saw me as a friend, I thought, what the hell. The results? After making out with me in a taxi one night, she dumped him for me 2 days later. I sure didn't mean for that to happen. She and I were just friends, and I tried it on her to see how she would respond, but unfortunately, she got really clingy and needy, so I needed to let her go. So I worked on this system every day, and after about 8 months, I was dating my first perfect 10. I'll show you her picture in just a second. If you live in Germany, you've probably seen her a bunch of times before. The mind-blowing thing about the system is that it did all of the work for me. For example, I was always confused about how and when to go for the first kiss, but I figured it out, and I'll tell you what I learned in just a little bit, so you'll want to stick around for that. First though, I'm going to reveal the secret to finding out if a girl will have sex with you on the first date. See, there's a point in every girl's obsession story where she's like, yep, it's finally time to have sex with this guy. And you need to be one step ahead of her so that you make your move at the right moment. Screw this up and she will very quickly lose a lot of interest in you. In fact, this is exactly what I screwed up with Christine. Some girls desperately want you to have sex with them on the first date, but other girls expect you to wait for a few dates so they don't feel like sluts. So I developed a simple way to figure this out. Here's how it works. When you're asking her out, and I'll tell you exactly how to do that, just casually suggest that she stop by your place first. Now, if she declines the offer, then you know she's going to need a few dates to get comfortable. No worries at all. But if she says yes, then you've hit checkpoint number 1. It's a pretty good sign that she's DTF, down to on the first date. Now, you want to be almost ready to go when she arrives. But when you answer the door, make sure you're not wearing any shoes, and major bonus points if you have half a glass of wine in your hand. Tell her that you're just finishing an email and ask her if she wants to come in. If she agrees, you hit checkpoint number 2. Now on her way in, ask her if she wouldn't mind taking her shoes off. And if she agrees to that, you've passed the 3rd checkpoint. And finally, I'm going to say this. Man, how rude of me. Can I pour you half a glass of wine while I finish my email? If she agrees to that, then there's a very good chance that you don't even have to take her out that night. All you need to do is follow my sex date formula, and she will fall into your bed like a ripe apple off a tree, but so much more enjoyable. Like everything in the system, you're the one in total control. You don't need to spend lots of money, and you don't need to pretend to be anyone who you're not. Why? Because this girlfriend getting system I decoded works on an evolutionary level. It's much deeper than our social programming. Even though it's not politically correct to say this, you and I both know that there's a secret enemy who keeps us from the women we want. And that enemy is women themselves. Women keep their secret desires hidden from us. Think about it. Would you keep your porn collection out in the open, share it on Facebook, and tell girls about it on your first date? Well, heck no. You keep your secret fantasies and your dark desires very private. And women know better than to tell you what they really want, what gets them obsessed and makes them fall for a guy. They're not going to give away the keys to the castle that easily. You know this. Just like with the helpless women in literotica, they would lose all of their power over us guys. So they come up with BS like, he can make me laugh, or he's got a good job, or he's well built, because it's socially acceptable to say those things. And sadly, this is really sad, a lot of women even start to believe these things for themselves. So they look for guys who have those things, and while none of that stuff hurts, it's not what actually makes women happy. How do I know? Well, this is the first girlfriend I landed after my system was perfected. I can't show you her face or her name for legal reasons, but what you need to know is that I was in about $50,000 of debt. I couldn't pay my mortgage, and I hadn't worked out for about 6 months when we became, official. And the reason she wanted me out of the literally hundreds of other guys competing for her, and the reason she paid for most of our dates, is because I just followed my simple system. I activated her obsession story in ways that the rich, good-looking, successful men who were chasing her had no idea how to do. They'd spent their lives making money and getting ripped, and listen, I think those are both great things. More power to you either way. But because all of those guys bought into the same lie about what it took to get a girl like this, they failed where I succeeded. Or how about this girl, who has made a lot of money as a cyber girl for the most popular adult men's magazine in the world? She's another real girl who wanted me because I followed this easy system. Now, I'm not showing you these photos to brag or even to exploit these girls' fame. No, I'm showing them to you because I used to be frustrated, lonely, and I always screwed things up with the girls I liked. I felt like there was absolutely no hope for a very big part of my adult life. And if you feel the same way, then you need to know that there's not just hope, but certainty. You can land an absolutely amazing woman too. The woman you never quite knew how to get before today. But today, everything changes for you because for the first time ever, I'm making my system publicly available. It's called the Girlfriend Activation System. And I thought about coming up with a cooler, trendier name for it, but I settled on this one because it's quite literally how the system works. When you use it, you will activate a woman's obsession story and make her want to be your girlfriend. So she'll commit herself to you fully, sexually and emotionally. It puts the dating game on autopilot, so you don't have to spend a lot of time or money on it, and you can pretty much skip right to the good stuff. Whether you want to jump right into a relationship with a girl you've had your eye on for a while, or you want to try before you buy and play the field before deciding who you want to get serious with. The system gives you the power and the choice. And in case it's not crystal clear from everything I've said up to this point, the system works even if you're broke, unattractive, introverted, old, nothing complicated, no cheesy lines, dumb tricks, or long stories to memorize. Just a simple step-by-step system to activate her obsession story that even the most dim-witted man could follow and still succeed with. There's just nothing easier out there. See, because I didn't want to have sex with thousands of girls, I didn't want a system that required a lot of hard work, or required that I totally change who I was, or learn to be a master pickup artist and spend every night at the bar. All I wanted to do was make a girl into a loyal, dedicated girlfriend if I liked her. But it just so happens that what works on one girl works on a lot of girls. So guys are using the system to date women on their own terms. 2 months ago, I launched the girlfriend activation system to a private test group of some of my fans and followers. You'll hear what some of them had to say about it in just a moment. And today I'm running some test ads on some very large sites on the internet and opening the system up to just a few more guys. If I was you right now, I'd probably be wondering exactly what's in the girlfriend activation system. Well, I'll tell you momentarily, but first I need to shut the doors to some of the viewers because there are very limited seats and I want them to go to the right men. The girlfriend activation system isn't for you if you're not ready for more women in your life. It's not for you if you want dating to be a magical, mysterious thing that you don't control. And it's definitely not for you if you don't want to follow a step-by-step proven system. If any of those things describe you, then don't keep watching so I can save the seat for the sort of guy I want to give this to. Guy who's kind of like I used to be. Confused or nervous or frustrated with the girls he really likes and sick of seeing other guys having the success that he wants. Man, if that's you, then I can't wait for you to write in and tell me about how my system helped you land your next woman. Here are just a few of the things you learn in the girlfriend activation system. 7 things that no other guy knows to activate her obsession story. None of them require looks or money. Shane, he wrote in, he's between jobs, and he had to rely on these 7 things for the 2 girls he's seriously dating right now. He mentioned they both pay for my dates because they tell me that I'm so sweet and stuff like that. They both tell me that they've never met a guy like me, and it's freaking awesome to hear stuff like this. You learn 3 things that'll get her thinking about sleeping with you, so that by the time you make your move, she will be sexually hungry for you. You learn 3 crippling mistakes that family, friends, the media, and yeah, women have been encouraging you to make your whole life. These are huge turnoffs, so you have to stop doing them. I'll tell you how and when to make each move, asking her out, going for the kiss, escalating to sex. You'll never wuss out again because you'll know exactly what she secretly wants you to do. This made things step by step easy for Jesse, who called the girlfriend activation system the total reboot he needed. He wrote in, he said, I'm 42, I got divorced a little over 3 years ago. A lot of things he had forgotten, completely forgotten the rules of the dating game, things like how to text girls or when to go for the kiss and the sex. And he said, well, your course was a total reboot I needed. It was comprehensive, left me with no questions. Girls were texting me back, initiating second dates, and telling me how sexy I am. You're going to learn the 4 simple things that will make her think of you as sex-worthy. Very few other guys do them, yet they're by far the easiest way to make her want to have sex with you. I'm going to tell you 3 lies that pickup artists try to sell you. It's not their fault because they don't know any better, but if you have bought into any of these lies, then I can promise you will never have a truly special girlfriend again. I'll give you one sneaky strategy to get a woman who's unattainable. Either she friend-zoned you or she has a boyfriend. You use this and she'll think about what a mistake she made. A fair warning, women can become very sexually aggressive when they want to prove themselves to you. Kurt followed this tip and then he sent me this message. He said, dude, I'm surging with confidence right now. Why? Because I just got laid by a girl who all my friends said I'd never hook up with. How did I do it? Well, since I'm sending this email to you, it probably wouldn't surprise you to hear that I just tuned into her obsession story and pretty much made her want me badly. I'm going to open the book to my king game tips for getting approached by hot women, even if you're not rich or handsome. I think I mentioned this, but out of my 9 girlfriends, 8 of them approached me, so trust me, my tips on this stuff, they're worth the price of admission alone. And king game, what's cool is it also works on women you already know, as Gordy found out. He actually sent me a picture of the girl who he'd been dating. He said, I've been into her for about 2 years, and when I saw your course, I thought, what the hell, I'm already your work buddy, so I guess it can't hurt. Going on, he said, I was amazed at how quickly she began to treat me differently once I started using some of your king game tips. And from there, it was really easy to get her out one-on-one. Then I just followed the system, and last night we had the talk. And, I'm presuming by that he means the relationship talk. And let's face it, whoever approaches who, you have to build her attraction and interest. But there's so much complicated advice out there. I found it all just way too confusing. So I got rid of 95% of the crap, and I distilled it into a few simple things that activate her obsession story brain circuitry, and I'm going to give them to you. And I want you to do 3 simple things in the first 3 minutes. When you do all 3, she will not allow herself to put you in the friend zone. And because she's going to be thinking about giving herself to you sexually, you got to know how to take it to the hoop. So even if you failed to make a move in the past because you didn't know how or you wussed out, you will never have that problem again. You'll taste the desire in her breath moments before the kiss. And when you take her into your bedroom, you will know how to get her naked in 10 minutes or less. By following my system, you will make the right move at the right time every time. Mohit, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he wrote in to tell me how easy the system has made it for him. He said, I'm 37, I've always had so-so success, but never really dated anyone he liked. What's his conclusion? Buying this was 100% one of the best choices I've made in years. I'm not going to say I wasn't skeptical, but it's insane how easy it's been for these last 2 weeks. Met 2 new girls, pulled another 2 back from the grave, and been on 4 dates. He goes on to say, you are right about being 1 step ahead of them. In fact, one of them told me last night, it feels like I know every little thing I need to do to make her like me. This was right before she gave me a little sexual favor, and that's when I knew I had to write you. And trust me, sex is just as exciting, even when you know it's about to happen when you're following the steps in the system. And since you've been paying attention, you know that the girlfriend activation system makes everything step by step easy. From meeting her, to getting her number, to sending her texts, to kissing her, to sex, to a relationship. Everything. It all follows the same genetically programmed obsession story that's wired into women at birth. So I will give you the dating playbook you need to activate it, and I'll even tell you what to talk about on your dates with her. Follow this stuff and she will be hanging on your every word. And I will tell you exactly how to go from dating a girl to having a relationship with her, reliably and consistently with any girl you want. Just don't be surprised when she shows up at your house unannounced with a special surprise for you. Everything is different from now on. No more screwing it up, no more games, no more she lost interest or she lost attraction, no more confusion. And because everything is done for you, your confidence is going to hit tremendous new peaks after the very first time you go through the course. I don't know about you, but when I used to see really hot girls who I wanted, I'd hold myself back because I was worried that they'd figure me out and see that I didn't know how to handle them. I hated the idea of talking to a girl, maybe even getting her number and not knowing what to do next. But that doesn't happen to me anymore. And if you just follow the step-by-step system, you will finally overcome that same doubt and fear that's kept you from the girls you really want. You will absolutely radiate confidence, even if you're an introvert like me. And this is really cool. You will gain command over your emotions because you'll know the dating game better than she does. There's just nothing else out there like the girlfriend activation system. Nothing. So I know I could ask thousands for it. It's easily worth that much for the results that it delivers. Heck, I charge $5,000 for a weekend of private coaching in New York, and there's a waiting list about 4 months long right now. Now, I'll get to the exact price of the girlfriend activation system in just a second, but I have to ask you a question. Are you picky about the girls you want to date? A lot of guys I coach tell me that they have high standards. And hey, I get it. You've seen photos of some of my girls. And you know what? I don't care what the rest of society says. You have every right, in my book, to be with a girl who's both sweet as sugar and banging hot. And heck, if you're going to settle, then I don't want you to buy this anyway. It'd be a waste of its power. But think about it for a minute. If your standards are high, then when you do meet the right girl, you want to make sure you get everything right. I think back to Christine. She was 1 in 1,000. And when I messed it up with her, I ruined a rare chance to date and sleep with my first perfect 10. But since then, man, I've settled the score so many times over. And if I knew that screwing it up with her would lead me to date the awesome girlfriends I've had since then, well, I wouldn't have just gone for a drink with the flower delivery guy. I would have bought champagne and celebrated. So even if you failed before, even if you feel like the most unconfident wuss bag in the world, and even if there's a girl whose rejection makes you feel weak right now, trust me, I've been there, and I know that if you get my system, everything's going to be different. Because when you have the power that I have, power I'm going to offer you to handpick the girl you want as your girlfriend, and know that there's a proven system that guarantees your success, well, every day feels like a celebration. And those feelings of knowing that any girl can be yours, of finally turning things around with that one special girl, kissing her for the first time, of unhooking her bra, running your hands up her back as she trembles in anticipation, and of waking up next to her on a Sunday morning, her smile for you as bright as the sunshine, man, I gotta tell you, those are the feelings that make this life worth living. They are priceless. So what do you think is a fair price for those guaranteed results? The $5,000 I charge for private coaching, the $2,000 that my inner circle said I should demand, the $697 that my marketing manager told me to charge? Those would all be fair, and especially because of something special I'm doing for this first internet ad test. You see, because I want you to have total confidence to buy this, I'm going to throw in 5 incredible bonuses for you as part of this advertising test. The first is an audio training tool. It's called Complete Confidence Hypnosis. It's a mind programming course that will literally upgrade your subconscious thoughts, installing the confident inner voice of a guy who's been successful with women his whole life. This is a very powerful course, and I haven't sold it on its own for several years, so if you think you can find it elsewhere, well, you can't. And even though I charged $497 for it in the past, you get it today for free just for giving the girlfriend activation system a try. Your second bonus, It's called the breathtaking hello. Even though the girlfriend activation system reveals how to get women to approach you about 95% of the time, sometimes you know this. You see a stunner walking down the street and you know you're going to kick yourself if you don't say hi. So I want to give you the firepower to approach any girl you want without rejection and enjoy as she opens up. And within about 30 seconds, begins eyeing you up and down, brushing her hair to the side, and eyeing you with that look. That's when you'll know that it's working. And this is something that costs $97 on its own, but I'm also giving this to you for free today. And as a perfect companion to the breathtaking hello, your third bonus is called Endless Conversations. As you can probably imagine, based on what you know about me already, I used to really struggle with talking to people. I'd always run out of things to say with pretty girls, so I spent hours analyzing conversation pros and figuring out how they made it so easy. And I realized that every good conversation follows a dead simple formula. And once I learned it, I could talk to anyone, anywhere, without even thinking about it. And running out of things to say to women, man, it just doesn't happen to me anymore. So in this hour-long video training course, it's valued at $297, I'm going to reveal the formula to you. And if you've ever struggled to talk to women, or heck, even talking to other guys, you're going to love being in charge of conversations after you've gone through this advanced training. Now, your fourth bonus is hot. It's called sexual texting. So when you activate a girl's obsession story, you are going to discover a very naughty, explicit side of her. And you better believe that she's going to want to play with you over text messaging. So I'm going to give you my complete black book for sending her dirty texts that'll turn her on, and I'll even give you my text-by-text method for getting her to send you naked photos. Now, you can't buy this for any price anywhere, but if I were to sell it separately, I could easily ask for over $197. And let's face it, guys would stuff money in my pockets for these tricks. And your fifth bonus is really special. I'm giving you trial access to the 10 code. I've spent the past 6 years studying men who are 10s, the sort of guys who just win at everything they do. They win with women, they win at work, they win at life, and I decoded how these guys think, how they act, and how they live. And this is by far the most ambitious training program I have ever created, because when you're in the top 10% of guys, your life gets really good. And if that's where you want to be, then I'd be really happy to give you the secrets I learned from other 10 guys. And the 10 code costs over $799, but you get to try it for free with your purchase of the Girlfriend Activation System. And because I always like to over-deliver, I'm going to throw in several other bonuses, but you'll have to buy the course and log into the private client portal to discover them. So the total value of all of this material, when you include the $1,997 paid by a few men to attend the live Girlfriend Activation System training seminar, it comes out to $3,282. Yet, I wanted any man to be able to afford the Girlfriend Activation System, so I decided to price it at $197. But today, you are not even going to pay that low price. You see, this advertising test, it's only running for a day or possibly a few hours. It all really depends on how long it takes my marketing manager to run through his ad budget. So because you're lucky enough to be here now, I'm going to do something truly special for you. For today only, you can get the entire Girlfriend Activation System. Thousands of dollars of only available right now bonuses for only $67. But only if you act now. Once this ad test is over, two things will happen. First, we're going to immediately raise the price back to $197. And second, I'll be removing all of the awesome bonus courses. And honestly, I don't know when we'll begin advertising this again. It could be weeks or months. So if the words "you snooze, you lose" mean anything to you, then you will understand why you need to buy this now. After you watch the videos just once, my brain and the entire Girlfriend Activation System will be installed into yours. Then you can go use it on whichever girl you want. And check this out, I'm giving you a full year to decide if you want to pay for this. So if you don't get a girlfriend, or if you don't think that this system is a million times better than all of the lousy advice you've heard from friends, family, and magazines, or if you don't even like the way my hair looks, then all you need to do is send me an email or call my 800 number and you'll be promptly and courteously given a refund. So go ahead and click the Next Step button at the bottom of this page right now. I want you to have amazing sex and incredible relationships. And I know that the surest way to get both of those is the Girlfriend Activation System. It's the only step-by-step system that guarantees a girlfriend. And when you order now, you get once-in-a-lifetime discounted pricing and thousands of dollars of free bonus courses. So if you want to join the ranks of men who finally have this problem solved and who are handpicking the girls they want, then log in right now by clicking the big orange button below. Because when you fill out the short encrypted order form on the next page, you're going to be able to immediately start your training. Access to the course is instant, and you can start downloading into your brain from the comfort of your chair, couch, or your bed. No waiting for the mailman, no embarrassing packages showing up at your doorstep, just discreet and instant access to my secret system for making any girl you want into your girlfriend. So right now, man, you have a simple choice. Option 1 is do nothing. Let this opportunity pass you by and let things stay the same as you keep finding yourself wishing that women would like you and hoping for the best. And always leaving things up to luck, fate, chance, or worst of all, leaving them up to her. Never getting as much sex as you want. And eventually settling for a girl who's just okay. Or you can take option 2. Risk nothing today or for the next 365 days and get the only system that guarantees a girlfriend or your money back. The system that's based on years of research studying literotica and the female mind. The system that gives any guy, no matter how old, unattractive, or awkward he thinks he is, the power to handpick his next girlfriend by simply watching the course, picking the girl he wants, and following the simple steps. And I have to tell you, when you seduce her in the way that she's dreamed about since she hit puberty, you are going to savor the eyes that she gives you that say, "You are the guy I've been looking for my whole damn life." Now, obviously, I wouldn't be so confident about all these claims and my 1-year ironclad guarantee if I didn't know that the system works flawlessly. And all I ask in return for this insanely low-priced one-time deal is this from you. Very soon, when you're laying next to the girlfriend of your dreams, the kind of woman who makes all your guy friends jealous, right after you've had some of the best sex of your life, and she's whispered in your ear about how amazing you are, I want you to get up out of bed, clean yourself up, and send me a quick email to say thanks. Let me know how the girlfriend activation system got you the kind of girlfriend who you always thought was out of your league. Because my happiest moments are when I get emails just like that from clients with amazing success stories. I know that your success story can be next. So click on that big orange button below, get on board now, and let's make this happen. Oh, you're still here, eh? Well, cool. That means you probably have some questions that didn't get answered yet. And that's totally cool. The last time I bought a toaster, I actually spent 4 hours reading the reviews on Amazon. I like to be informed too. So let's do a little Q&A here, and hopefully I can answer whatever final questions you have. Sound good? The first question I thought you might have is, how is this course delivered? And that's a great question. It's actually delivered digitally on a private, secure website. So you'll get full video of the seminar as well as audio that you can download and listen to on the go. We've also got transcripts of the seminar and some extras in there as well. And the cool thing is that this website is also our private community. So there are a lot of other guys in there on that message board, everyone from guys just like you to other coaches just like me. So this is where you can get additional help and advice and connect with other guys if you want to. And that part of it, of course, it's entirely optional, but I know that it's tough to go it alone. So if you want support, encouragement, and even more tips, you'll find it there for sure. Next question that I would probably have if I were you is, why are you, aka me, why am I qualified to teach this? And here's the thing. I'm a pretty average guy. I just had such a terrible problem with this stuff that I basically devoted my life to fixing it. So I've been doing this since 2005. So as of today, I've been doing it longer than it takes most people to get a PhD. In that time, I've probably read more books on psychology, biology, and social philosophy than most college professors. And I've also had 9 long-term girlfriends. I've dated hundreds of girls, and I've approached thousands of them. And I've also taught this stuff to over 200 men in personal coaching sessions around the world. I even fly out to Singapore once a year where my coaching is in very high demand. But, the biggest reason I'm qualified isn't so much because of me, it's because of the system. It's based on some pretty heavy-duty psychology, and it's worked for both myself and a lot of other guys now, so that's really the best measure of my qualifications. Now, if there's a woman you like, you probably want to know, well, how long will it take to work on her, right? And, listen, this is a step-by-step system, and it usually takes about 3 dates to get to sex and 3 weeks to get to a relationship. So if there's a woman you like, then the obvious next question is, well, how long will it take to work on her? And here's the story. This is a step-by-step system. You know that already? For me, it usually takes 3 dates to get to sex and 3 weeks to get to a relationship with the girl. Now, it could go much more quickly if you want, but for reasons you'll discover in the course, I actually prefer to wait until the 3rd date to have sex. You could do it on your next date or the next time you see her, but that might make it more difficult to actually turn her into your girlfriend. You see, for a lot of girls, if they give it up too soon, it makes them feel like a slut, and then they think that that's how you think of them, so they want to create distance between you, and it makes things harder. But again, it's really your choice. You'll be able to use some of the king game tips next time you see a girl, and if you've already dated her once or twice, you'll be able to use the texting tips to kick things back into high gear, possibly as soon as tonight. So you just got to go through the course and put it to use. Now, I get this question a lot. What if I'm an older guy? Or, you could substitute older for like uglier or like don't have a lot of money. But we'll focus on older guys here. Listen, because this system works on evolutionary level, it's much deeper than a woman's social programming. So it's actually great for older guys. You and I both know that some younger women like to set arbitrary age limits on the guys they date. And that's fine. I mean, that's her social brain doing the talking. But because that part of her brain, scientists call it the prefrontal cortex, that's the newest part of her brain to have evolved. And so it's many ways, it's also the weakest. So because the girlfriend activation system quite literally works on a deeper, older part of the brain, it just destroys any social programming. So if you're an older guy who wants to date younger girls, you'll be attracting them in a way that makes your age totally irrelevant to them. Now here's another question that we got just recently, and it's, do we accept PayPal, cash, or checks? And at present time, we don't. Cash or checks, that one's obvious. PayPal, we just haven't been able to get around to integrating it with our checkout system. But we did build our own checkout system from the ground up. We've got a great tech guy, and we wanted to ensure that it's 100% secure. So when you click over to the next page, you're going to see lots of those little trust logos from like Authorize.net, Komodo, BuySafe, and so on. And unlike a lot of other people who sell stuff online, we didn't just copy and paste those images onto our webpage. If you click on them, you'll be able to verify the identity and security of the checkout page so you can enter your details with confidence. And the final question that kind of jumps out to me if I was going to buy this is this really guaranteed? It is the internet, which is kind of the wild, wild west of shopping. But the answer is absolutely, like 100% it is guaranteed. Listen, you and I, we don't know each other yet. If I was able to meet you in the mall and tell you about this, then that'd be cool. You can look me in the eye, you can shake my hand, and you could feel a lot more confident about making this purchase. And I wish I could do that on the internet, but we're kind of limited by the fact that it's virtual. So the best I could do is offer the 1-year guarantee. Now, I don't know if you've bought other stuff online, but most companies, they offer 14 days or 30 days, or if they're really generous, 60 days. But I've always insisted on giving our clients a full year to really see how our material changes their lives. And we've got such a long list of happy clients that I'm very confident in offering this guarantee. But on the off chance you want to take me up on it, all you got to do is send us an email or call the 800 number. Those are both on the email receipt you get when you buy the product, and they're both right there in the private community. And I've got 2 people running my help desk. They're both real Americans, they live in Texas, and they speak English as a first language. And we actually call them customer happiness representatives because their primary job is to make guys like you happy. So listen, man, I hope this answers most of your big questions. I'm going to sign off now, and I just really appreciate you joining me all the way here to the end. And I hope you've got the information you need to feel confident about buying this course and knowing that it's going to work for you. So, go ahead, click that big orange button below, and I'm really hoping that I will see you on the inside.